This is the new COROS Pace Pro, and it's not quite as durable as some of the other watches from COROS that are intended for trail running and for adventures in the mountains, but the maps on this are incredibly fast and detailed. It's said to be their fastest watch yet, and it's very lightweight. And this is not going to be a detailed review. I don't do many of those, nor did I test and compare the GPS or the heart rate accuracy. For all of that, you should take a look at the videos that were already published by Ray over at DC Rainmaker and by Dave at Chase the Summit, because those guys are much better at that kind of thing than I am. And I'll link to both of those in the description below. Plus, I did receive this watch from COROS, which I do get to keep, and I do work with COROS on a regular basis as a sponsor for many of my videos, so it would be far from unbiased. But I will give you my personal perspective on this watch, more in terms of use cases and how it compares to the COROS Vertix 2S here, which is my personal favorite. And of course, there will be an affiliate link in the description in case you are interested in buying it for yourself. So this is positioned as a multi-sport watch, as opposed to an adventure watch like the Vertix series. And for me, this means it's more suitable for city-based and possibly indoor activities. So let's start with the form factor. This is the black version with the silicone wristband. It's also available in blue or gray with an optional nylon band. And it's much smaller and lighter than the Vertix 2S here. It weighs just 49 grams with the silicone band or 37 grams with the nylon band. And that's compared to 87 grams for the Vertix 2S with the silicone band. So approaching half the weight of this watch, which I really noticed after wearing such a heavy and large watch for so long. The display is a little bit smaller at 1.3 inches instead of 1.4 on the Vertix 2S. And the Pace Pro is so much smaller, in fact, that I barely notice that I'm wearing it, especially when wearing it at night for sleep tracking. And we'll come back to all of that when discussing the use cases towards the end of the video. Now, key features, you might have noticed that the screen is much brighter and more vibrant than maybe other watches that you've seen. And that's thanks to the new AMOLED, that's the Active Matrix Organic LED screen, which is a technology that uses organic compounds to create light. And the benefits, aside from being more vibrant, include increased refresh rate and reduced power consumption. So your battery is going to last a lot longer. And as I said, it's also faster, which is thanks to a new processor. It's in fact said to be double the speed of the Pace 3. You'll get 38 hours of GPS activity tracking on a single charge and up to 20 days of daily use as a normal watch and sleep tracking if you're wearing it overnight. It's got an optical wrist-based heart rate monitor on the back here as usual, and it now comes with a little adapter that you can plug in the back, which allows you to use a USB-C charging cable. So if you're traveling, you don't need to bring a separate cable to charge the watch. You can use USB-C, which is similar to the new iPhones, for example, although you do have to remember to bring this little adapter with you. But fortunately, there's a little case here that goes onto your keychain, so you don't lose it. And downloadable global offline maps, which I've become really accustomed to using on my Vertix 2S, and not just for mountain navigation. These are great for running in the city as well, especially for a person like me who travels a lot and who might find themselves running in a new city from time to time. Being able to see the streets as you navigate your route is super helpful. And that brings us to use cases. Now, there's nothing that the Pace Pro can't do that the Vertix 2S here does. And in fact, it does a few things a little bit better, like the mapping with the faster processor and the more vibrant screen. But of course, with nowhere near the performance in terms of the battery life of the Vertix 2S. So the Pace Pro is not something that I would have went out and bought myself, having already owned the Vertix 2S. But the Vertix series, being the top of the line available from COROS, is overkill for a lot of runners. So for many, the Pace Pro could be the best option all around. And I find that I tend to reach for this when going out for a road run. And it's definitely what I'll use for any workouts, either on a treadmill or on a track, because it is so much lighter and so much more comfortable. And the screen really is a huge improvement. And as I said earlier, with it being so much lighter and smaller than the Vertix 2S, it's more likely something that I'm going to wear at night for sleep tracking. Because while the Vertix 2S here also does sleep tracking, it tracks your sleep stages, HRV, overnight heart rate, all that kind of stuff, I find it just a little bit too bulky and uncomfortable. So I end up rarely wanting to wear it while I sleep. But in terms of battery life, it's not going to last quite as long for things like my multi-day adventures and races. For that, I'll continue to rely on my COROS Vertix 2S. But it should last more than long enough for most runners, for most ultras, up to, again, 38 hours, which should cover most people for even 100-mile races. Now, the Pace Pro also is not going to be as durable as the Vertix 2S, which has a sapphire glass screen and which uses titanium alloy for both the bezel and the cover, making it much more scratch resistant. And this is important if, like me, you're using your hands a lot to scramble over rocks, or you're bushwhacking a lot, or for anyone who's maybe rock climbing or using it for any other adventure sports. But of course, this is why the Vertix 2S is so much heavier, that and the much larger battery and slightly larger screen. The Vertix 2S really is overkill for the average runner, but I think the Pace Pro is a great option for anyone buying their first GPS watch or maybe upgrading from an older model, because it's priced at just $350 US compared to $700 for the Vertix 2. And it will work for, as I said, everything but the most extreme use cases. So like I said, check out those 2 reviews. I will link to them in the description if you want to learn more about the performance of the watch. And tell me in the comments if you're thinking about getting this watch, if you think it might be a fit for you, or of course, what your experience has been if you've already picked one up for yourself.